are your mama's favorite podcast and the number one unknown podcast in the world. Back at it again. Sitting in the chair to the left of me. The greatest host. The greatest runner.
Whoa. Chill.
The man, the myth, the legend, and our favorite goddess, Mr. D-Thack.
Dude, we're back on the goddess thing again. Oh.
You know, everybody, before we jump into this, sit back, relax, take a deep breath. Come on, Dylan, let's do one big one in. And out. Sip your coffee. Enjoy this episode.
I'm afraid that deep breath in and out might put me to sleep. I'm tired today. I'm actually just tired in general right now.
Okay, Post Malone.
No, not the same kind of tired he is.
Let's enjoy this episode. Let's forget about all the noise that's going on in life. Let's forget about all the noise that's in our head. Let's forget about all the things that are going on and solely focus on this to see if we can take one little nugget away. Because I think we got a good topic today that can stem in multiple different areas of life. And so let's just forget about everything that's going on and see if we can learn something about the DTI way.
This is good coffee. This mold free.
Yeah, bro. This shit smacks.
I don't even know what that means. I feel like coffee's supposed to have mold in it, honestly. It feels like one of those things.
That's the more mold, the more it gets you fucking going.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, Lo got me that for Valentine's Day, and it's delicious, but probably won't keep up the trend because it's a lot more expensive than the 20 bag from Costco that I usually buy.
Like a 20-pound bag?
Did I say 20 pounds?
You said 20 bag.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out what that meant.
$20.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, $20. I don't know.
I was like, they have a 20-pound bag of coffee?
I wish, dude.
But $20 makes more sense.
Yeah.
I don't know why my head went to pounds.
I don't know either.
It's like just a big, like the big bag of rice that I get. It's just full of coffee.
Yeah, I get that bag as well. That's a deal. Chicken, rice at Costco, and bags of Skinny Pop. Yeah, can't beat it. The best deals in the world.
For people to say they can't eat healthy, dude, you can get like 20-some pounds of rice for like $17.
Yeah.
And I eat a lot of rice. And this thing lasts me months.
Forever. It's amazing. I think I buy like 2, maybe 2.5 bags a year.
I definitely buy more than that, but I also eat rice every day.
I switch
beef
it up.
and rice for lunch every single day.
I switch it up. Pastas, rice, potatoes. Big potato guy. I like cooking potatoes.
Have you seen like like how they have like girl dinner?
Yeah.
Have you seen the new boy thing going around?
Is it like the dog food for kids?
Yeah, bro. It is. It's called Boy Kibble. And it's essentially what I've been eating every day for like a decade. Literally. I saw it yesterday. I sent it to Mandy. She's like, "This is you." I was like, "I know." And then yesterday I had a little bit of beef left over, like that wasn't in one of my meal preps. And so I threw it in with eggs. And then for lunch I had beef and rice. I said, "This is my second helping of Boy Kibble today." It's not a new trend.
Boy Kibble smacks, bro.
I know. They're sleeping on it.
So do you switch up your Boy Kibble or do you always keep it rice and ground beef?
For the most part, it's rice and ground beef. For
Okay.
lunch, for sure. Because if I do chicken, I don't get enough calories in a day.
Mm.
Like, I need the fat from beef. But if I switch it up, it's like ground turkey.
Yeah. Costco doesn't sell the bison anymore, and it makes me very upset.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would rotate. I'm like on a big, I can't do ground beef right now.
Oh, bro, that's my go-to, dude.
Yeah, I wish. So right now it's ground turkey. Sometimes it's elk. Sometimes it's bison when I can find it. They got it at the store.
At Costco? Or just at like Harris Teeter over here?
Yeah, like Harris Teeter or Sprout, something like that.
I honestly didn't know that like they even sold elk in this area.
Mm-hmm. Same thing though. I mean, you're paying $12.99, $13.99 for a little brick versus $10.99 for this massive thing of ground beef.
Like, is it as good as if you ate it somewhere where elk just roams free?
Tastes very lean. Tastes real good. Yeah,
I used to eat elk a lot when I lived in Colorado, but like it's much more readily available.
Yeah, they said that they might introduce elk back into Ohio, I think. And I'm like, when were elk ever in Ohio?
That was my thought.
Yeah. I was like, what?
And why? They were obviously pushed out for a reason, or like they went extinct for a reason. Not extinct because they exist, but like in the area.
Yeah. I don't know if that's true. It's just like these wolves that they released last year back into Colorado, I think it was. The most like dangerous killer wolves. They recreated them. They were extinct. They recreated them.
Like on some Jurassic Park shit.
Yeah. They recreated these wolves and they let them free in the wild. And they are literally like the number one killers of cattle. And
we should not be genetically creating anything that doesn't exist.
they're trying to bring back the woolly mammoth right now.
For what? Like, where's it going to live?
I don't know. They're literally like incubating it right now.
But like, what is the purpose? Where is this? Is it going to go to? If they just recreate a woolly mammoth to put it in a zoo, bro.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Huh.
No idea. But on a more interesting note, you sent me a email or a text message the other day.
Damn, bro, email?
Back in the old school ways. And you were like, podcast topic this week. The person you strive to become isn't that far away. It's just stuck behind the person you refuse to let go of. And so then what I did was, wait, did you say something else?
No.
Oh, no. That's when I said about how you think is a big part of this. And so I'm excited to dive into this topic because, again, I think we can branch it off in many different areas to pinpoint things. And this is what I really want people to listen to. Maybe we even cut out the beginning part of the nonsense that we talked about of Costco and elk. So that way,
dude, they need to know.
people stay tuned in. But when you sent me this topic, it resonated because I guess I'll call myself out first. Like I catch myself in this all the time. So again, the person you strive to become isn't that far away. It's just stuck behind the person you are refusing to let go. I tied this to a different narrative of your dreams are right around the corner. And the only reason that you're not achieving them is because you're not putting like the attention and time into it. So that's like one spin that I want to put on it. Because like for me, the person that I want to become, like, dude, we've been working on it for the last 4+ years or whatever. Like we'll just go back to when this started. And so I've done a lot of like reflecting. I've done a lot of self-help. I've done a lot of like intentional things to get me to this point that have helped establish a mindset in my life where like I'm happy with the person that I look in the mirror. I'm happy with the way my relationship is with my business, with my professional career, with my family, like all of these different buckets and attributes, my financial well-being, like all of these things I've put so much time and attention on. But it wasn't until I changed my mindset that I was able to actually change the trajectory or direction that all of those things were going. Because it once was not like this at all for all of those different areas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love when we call ourselves out. I feel like it's usually the best ones. But mine was kind of along, like the whole reason this came up was kind of along like the same thought process is like we've put in a lot of work. Granted, we're definitely not where we want to be in the long run, but I think that's always a moving target. I don't think we're ever going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, dude, it comes back to the same place it always comes back to. Drinking. And we're 59 days as of recording this into 75 hard.
Let's go.
So we've got just over 2 weeks left. And I'm already in my head like, what does after look like? And I feel good about like right after. Like it's not like I'm just going to fall right off because I have a race a week later. And then it's like we're 2 months out from the wedding, probably keep it pretty tight. But like after that, I'm going into a honeymoon where like I'm out there for 2 straight weeks. No rules. Like I'm just being released into the wild like this woolly mammoth. And I'm not going to know what to do with myself. And so it's like, for me, I looked at it like the person that you want to be is around the corner because like 59 days. Like I pulled it together quick. And so like I know it's right there. I know like it's small tweaks and like tune-ups that I need to do to get myself exactly where I want to be. To like just feel dialed in across the board. But like what am I not okay with letting go of that keeps me from reaching like full potential?
Mm-hmm.
You know? So that's kind of like how this whole thing came up in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah, I think being extremely regimented and strict can be the greatest blessing, but it can also be the greatest hindrance because how long do you keep that going for? And how long do you keep feeling the way you've been feeling? And what are the different things that it's like playing a factor to in multiple different lives and areas? Like, it's definitely making you more disciplined because you open that book back up and you started writing it. It's making you more disciplined because you're knocking out every single workout intentionally, like to the T. Again, playing around with the programming and stuff like that. But it's also, I think, expanding like creative ideas and stuff like that in life that you wouldn't see when you're this dialed.
I think I've brought more podcast topics this year than I did all of last season.
I agree with that. I do agree with that.
If you know me, then you know I love a good beer, but I also like waking up early to train. That's where Athletic Brewing Company comes into play. Athletic makes award-winning non-alcoholic craft beer that tastes like the real thing because it is the real thing, just without the alcohol. These are for people who train hard, who chase goals, who live active, but still appreciate cracking open something cold at the end of the day. And here's what we love most. Choosing Athletic isn't about removing something, it's about keeping everything that matters. Flavor, ritual, social moments, and still being able to perform tomorrow. So if you want a beer that fits your lifestyle instead of fighting against it, hit up Athletic Brewing Co. and use code Dylan20 for 20% off your first order. Back to the show.
Quick pause to shout out one of the brands we've been repping lately, Optic Nerve. If you spend time running, grinding outside, or just living life in motion, these are the kind of shades that work. Optic Nerve has been around for over 4 decades, building sunglasses that blend real performance and clean style. The polarized lenses deliver 100% UV protection, cut glare, and keep your vision sharp, whether you're hitting a morning run, midday errands, or winding down after. We use this because for us, it's not just about looking good. It's about practicality and comfort. So if you're tired of cheap shades that don't hold up, hit up Optic Nerve. Go to opticnerve.com and grab you a pair today. Use code DTI at checkout and you'll get 20% off. Back to the show. And shout out to you for great podcast topics that we can clip. And they're not getting they're getting good traction, but they're not getting what I thought they would garner. But it's so fun. I was doing them the other day and I was like, Dylan's going to hate that AI is not making these anymore.
I mean, I talked to you about it yesterday, but we're just going to let them keep going.
But yeah, so I think there's 2 ways to like look at this topic. There's people who have established routines, habits in their life that keep them on track. And when they start veering, they pull themselves back on track very fast. And then there's the other side of the spectrum where there's some people who don't know where to fucking start, where they feel so lost, so disconnected, and uninspired or motivated to believe that it can actually change. And so when I was like jotting down notes and talking to my friend and stuff like that, I really like this is that the person you want to become already exists. And so when we start going down these new endeavors in life, or when we realize like, shit, we're in financial struggle, or shit, we're overweight, or we're not happy in our relationship, or our work life is not going good, the person that you want already exists because you talk about the other side of it. You talk about how you want to be debt free. You talk about how you want to lose weight. You talk about how you want to find a better job. But the thing is like, how long are you going to let yourself get in your head? And this is where I believe the topic of how you think and communicate to yourself plays the biggest role. Because early on in the journey, when you want to see change, when you want change to happen, if you don't like 100%, 1,000,000% believe that this change can actually happen, you'll never get anywhere. You'll never make progress. You'll stay stagnant exactly where you are because you don't truly believe it. You know you want it, but you don't believe that it can happen. And so I think one of the first steps in becoming this person that you want to be to the biggest heights is like, I talk about these things because they're weighing on me. I talk about these things because they're bothering me, but I need to believe that deep down Freddie can change that scenario. When I look in the mirror every day, I know I'm fucking in this struggle. I know that I'm going through it, but I'm going to pull myself out of it because at the end of the day, nobody can change the trajectory or roadmap of your life besides you. And you can talk about it and it can sound great, but if you're not then putting in the action behind it, which are those daily habits, nothing's going to happen. And so when I bring up finance, like, dude, I was once $36,000, $42,000 in debt right after college between student loans, credit card debt. And it was not going to buy coffees out during the week. It was not going to eat out. It was not buying as many drinks at the bar. It was making sacrifices, even a bigger scale, like not getting a new car when I wanted it, or not getting a new piece of furniture at the apartment or something like that. Like, it's making those sacrifices in the short term, so that way you can see the results in the long term. But the long term is actually short term if you actually stay disciplined and instill these habits. So it's the same thing with weight loss. If you have a goal to lose 25 pounds, how fast do you want that to happen? If you want it to happen fast, it relatively can, based off of the habits that you put in place. Are you eating out? Are you cooking in? What are you eating? What are you consuming? Are you eating a lot of carbs, a lot of fats? Are you eating fried food? Are you eating fresh vegetables and fruits and meat and things that come from this earth that are good for you to be able to see those results? And then on top of that, it's like, okay, are you getting your steps in? Are you working out? Like, all of this stuff is, I would say, common sense to us, but to the everyday person who is struggling with these things, they can't see the clarity in it because they go online, they see people talk about it, or they see people that are already jacked and ripped, or they see people that are super successful and have the Lamborghinis and the designer bags and all this. And they're like, how do they have this? And I can't even pay for my groceries. Mm-hmm. And so it's just taking a step back and realizing, like, nobody's going to judge you for trying to get back onto the right path. Nobody's going to judge you for saying that you want better in life. And so how disciplined and how willing are you going to be to make sure that you're doing things every single day, so that way you win the days to win the weeks? We talk about it all the time. When you start winning the weeks, you win the months. And then by the end of the year, you look back and you're like, holy shit, I did all this in 1 year. And once you start checking those boxes, dude, it just garners that attention, or that unknown passion to then be like, all right, I want this next and I want this. And you just subconsciously start going after these different things because you realize the way you feel, the way you think, the way you act is all contributed to the little fucking things. The little things are not buying that coffee out. The little things are not making purchases. The little things are not going to get fast food. Like, whatever your goals are, just do the little thing and stop looking at that big number of 20 pounds you want to lose, or 100 pounds, or that $20,000 you're in debt, or whatever it is. Take a step back and just be like, I need to make these changes and actions every single day, and it will pay off.
This seems very elementary to us, I feel like, because number one, we've done it, and now we've seen people around us do it. But for a lot of people listening, I feel like they may have told themselves time and time again, like, it's easy to say, like, you can think something, but if you haven't proven it to yourself and you haven't ever seen anybody do it, it's harder to, like, conceptualize that. So, like, these people who have wanted to get out of these situations and then tried and failed and tried and failed, like, at some point, how do you pull yourself back out of that to say, I am capable of doing this, when you haven't had anybody model that around you in your entire life? You came from a family situation where they were in the same position you are, so they couldn't teach you the skills to stay out of that. So you repeat the cycle, maybe worse, maybe better, who knows? But, like, you continue to make these decisions, and you genuinely want better. And it feels like you make small strides and then you fall back. You make small strides and you fall back. And I feel like it's just hard for a lot of people because they've never seen it modeled. They've never been able to fully build the confidence. And it's the same thing like we see with weight loss all the time. Like, people yo-yo up and down nonstop, and they never see success. So they believe, I'm not capable of actually achieving this. So, like, for us, the mindset piece, I feel like, isn't even hard anymore. Like, there's not much that you could throw at me that I'm not going to say I can get through this, because like, it's just the way that I've rewired my brain to think about things. But for somebody who's never seen that and who's never even been able to do something to build that confidence, I feel like it's a much harder path for them to go down.
Yeah, but on the other hand, like, at some point you got to wake the fuck up.
I agree.
At some point you have to wake the fuck up and realize, like, this may be and this is the thing, dude, is so many people blame their parents for this. And so many people blame their environment, blame that. But then you go online or you, like, talk to people and they're like, yeah, I came from nothing. My dad was a fucking crackhead. My mom was a fucking whore. Like, whatever it is, dude. Like, I didn't have nobody. My sister raised me, or whatever.
You better fucking clip this, dude.
And so you look at all these shitty situations, or like, my parents were killed right in front of me, or we were in a car accident and I was the only one that survived, or my parents passed away early from suicide and cancer. Like, there's so many things out there. We were homeless because we couldn't pay the bills. If it weighs on you so much and you want the change, then why are you not going to leverage those things in order to see the light at the end of the tunnel? And so whatever your situation is, there is a way to get out of it. But do you truly want out of it when you say the things that you're saying, or are you just saying it because you know it sounds good? And I feel like most people say things because it sounds good, because their actions reflect that they don't actually want change. Your life will change based off of what you tolerate. If you can't tolerate anymore of being poor, if you can't tolerate anymore of being stuck in your head or what happened in the past or whatever it is, if you're either going to stay there and tolerate what that behavior is, or you're going to look yourself in the mirror and be like, I'm going to change my fucking family history. I'm going to change the direction of my life. I'm going to become the person that I want to become. And it will be hard. It will not be easy. And it will be extremely hard when you don't have those people around you. But I can tell you, when you start dipping your toe on the other side of whatever that looks like, and you start getting out of it a little bit more and getting a little uncomfortable, things will fucking change. But Dylan, most people talk about things just because they want to hear themselves talk about it, and they don't actually want to see this stuff blossom into something great. And
I agree with you.
That's
why
I
brought
lose
this
my
up.
mind.
That's why I brought it up. Is because like we can like preach the whole time, like, oh, you just need to do the small things, you need to do the and it's true. But most people don't want to hear it. Most people want to make an excuse that they can't do the small habit because they haven't done this, or, well, I didn't have anybody to show me how to do it, so I can't do it. And that's where, like, a lot of times I feel like we come in and we give it to them on a fucking silver platter. Like, here's all you need to do. Like, go ahead and do it. But at the end of the day, like, you don't need that. You need to be told, get the fuck off your ass and just go do it.
Yeah.
Because anybody can play a victim. And I'm not saying that your circumstances weren't bad. I'm not saying that you didn't have shit happen to you. And I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to all of you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying like that shit didn't happen, that you weren't dealt a shitty hand or like any of this. But you're not the only one who was dealt a shitty hand. You're not the only one who's been through some shit. But the longer you stay in this victim mentality, the longer you're going to be in a life you don't love. And so it goes back to like, I think we've talked about this before. Like, two people can be raised in the same abusive household with an alcoholic father, and one of them never drinks and becomes a stand-up guy because I don't want to be like that guy. And the other one becomes an alcoholic abuser because it's what I saw. Mm-hmm. Like, you have complete control over what you do with your circumstances. So you can either let them define you, or you can man the fuck up, woman the fuck up, whatever you want to say, and just go make shit happen.
If you care about putting in work, whether it is crushing workouts, staying sharp during long days, or just doing right by your body, First Form gets it. First Form isn't about the hype. They build on quality, stand by service, and measure everything by real-world results. Their lineup covers it all. Top-tier protein powders, clean pre-workouts, vitamins, green support, and energy drinks. Even apparel for lifestyle. My go-to, their flagship protein and their clean energy drink. Perfect for after a tough session or to get dialed in for a long day. The energy drink drops 200 milligrams of natural caffeine from green tea, has zero sugar, electrolytes, and nootropics for focus, all without the crash of traditional energy drinks. So if you're done settling for mediocre supplements, if you want stuff that's built on intention, integrity, and performance in mind, check out First Form. Head over to firstform.com/DTI to browse their full stack and see what fits your goals. All right, let's get back to the show.
If you care about staying sharp, energized, and ready to perform, Ketone IQ might be for you. Ketone IQ delivers clean, stable energy without a crash. Unlike caffeine-heavy picks, Ketone IQ uses exogenous ketones that raise your levels, giving your body and brain a different kind of fuel. What that means for you is sharper focus on early morning runs, better mental clarity when you're working or grinding through long days, and sustained energy without the jitters or sugar crash. If you want to try it out, head over to KetoneIQ.com and use code Dylan30 at checkout. You'll get 30% off your order. Back to the show.
Yeah. Yeah, it's your mind keeps you small. And if you want to be small, you can be small. And when I say that sometimes you have to be like, fuck everything, I'm changing it, or like, fuck the situations that I was in, I'm changing it, that's not to undermine them. That's not what I'm saying. But how can you become understanding of those situations, of those things, to leverage them as fucking fuel to the fire? So I look at it from the standpoint of, like, I bring up my dad passing away. I was very much going down the wrong path with my habits, with my mindset, to the point, rock bottom, fell flat on my fucking face, didn't want to exist no more. None of that shit. I've brought it up multiple times this season, but I've taken that and I've leveraged it in a positive light. And now I say the worst day of my life has become the best day of my life because it gave me my purpose and why in this world. And so when you can take these bad things that have happened to you and spin them in a narrative that's not like facetious or like super fake or whatever, but you can come to that understanding where it's like, I was once this, or I once went through that, but it taught me X, Y, and Z. Those things teach you more than life coasting along. Those are what make people different.
Mm-hmm.
Going through that shit, the trials and tribulations of life, that's what makes people different. And when you fail and when you stumble and when you don't succeed and when you make the wrong decisions, all of that stuff is teaching you bigger lessons than if life was just coasting along. But most people, I was one of them, still am in some areas where I get in my head about stuff, but most people cannot see the light or they don't want to take the light away from it. And I will tell you one thing, it is so much harder to live a life dwelling or thinking about those things in a negative light or why things can't happen than it is to change that narrative and use those as fuel to the fire, to go after your dreams, goals, and aspirations, to become the person that you want to become, to do the things you want to do, and truly live out this dream life, whatever it looks like for you, because of all of those things. And so, like, I look at it from the standpoint of, like, Mike Malak, addicted to fucking substance, going down the wrong path, should have ended up in jail or dead, but he took that, changed his life, and now look at him. He's prospering. And I use him because he's a public figure that a lot of people know about. And so they can see his story and they can resonate with it, or they can look it up and see. But again, like, he could have kept going down that path and never been to the heights, have the relationships he's had, but he's taken that tough time that he went through. He's realized that he fucked his life up a lot, but he used it to fuel this new ambition and drive that he has in life. And he's slowly starting to, like, open up about it more. And he talks about his mental health and how it's not great and how he's went over and done different medical therapies and stuff like that to try and just, like, change the way he's wired and the way that he looks at things. But again, there's intent behind it. He's not just talking about it. He's putting the action in behind it to, like, believe it himself. And so it's just, I think if most people could look at situations in their life and find the positives out of a negative situation, it would just make them not only be more successful, but just be more content and happy in life. So that way they're not constantly dwelling and beating themselves up, because everybody fucking makes mistakes, bro. Everybody gets in financial debt. Everybody gets overweight at one point. Everybody loses their mindset or, like, the drive forward because they get caught up in all these other narratives or things going on. And it's just, it seems harder than it is, but it all relates back to why it's so important to do small things every single day, because it subconsciously just keeps you building and growing, and you learn. It's not saying there won't be roadblocks in the way, but you know how to deal with them, and you have more motivation and, like, passion to get around them or figure them out.
To the roadblocks point, great transition. This is where I wanted to go next. I think it's important to note that just because you start doing these things and you start making progress doesn't mean that everything gets easy.
Mm-mm.
I would argue it's probably going to get harder, because, like, there's something in the universe that doesn't want you to do well. Like, there's just something, like, it's always going to be working against you. And so the more you strive for better, the more things are going to be thrown at you. But that's where you develop real discipline and real character, because you have to overcome these things. And so I had wrote down, I don't even know if it's a quote, I don't know. But it says that the devil prowls like a roaring lion seeking someone to devour. And it's like, the more that you let go of your old self, the more friction that you're going to feel. Because the enemy, that old past version of yourself, doesn't want to let that go. Like, it wants to hold on to you and keep you in this dark place.
Mm-hmm.
It's why there's so much negativity in the world. Like, there's a reason that good news isn't pushed out, because negativity has a way stronger hold than positivity ever will. And so it's like, things aren't going to get better overnight. Like they're not just magically gonna clear out and there's just this great path for you to walk down for the rest of your life. Like, no, shit is gonna suck, but it's supposed to suck. Like you're supposed to go through hardship. You got to this point because you went through hardship. Specifically you wouldn't be here if you didn't go through that situation with your dad.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know where you would be. Like, truthfully,
Yeah.
could be a completely different life. Same with me on a much smaller scale, but like everybody's shit is relative. Like if you don't go through the hard things in life, you're not going to be the person that you're supposed to be today. So it's like, as you try to become better, expect to be pulled back.
Yeah. Yes. Like, I think about that often, or I used to think about it often, where it's like, would I ever went away to Ohio State? Would I ever got a college degree if Dad didn't pass away? Would I have ever moved to Texas? Would I have ever met Lo if I didn't do any of those things? Because again, he had family businesses.
Yep.
Would I have went down that route and worked with him at those? Or like, I wonder what life would have looked like. But I can confidently say that I'm happy to look at what life has become. And although I would do anything and everything in this world to have him here to go through these different life changes and everything with me, sometimes you just got to take reality for what it is and do all of these things that we're talking about, because it teaches you so much more. And so I would rather use what had happened as fuel to my fire of why I continue to push forward in the direction that I am in multiple different areas, and why I'm so motivated and passionate to like drive for success and stuff like that. I'd much rather use those hard things to fuel that than use those hard things to just dwell and weep on. And who knows where life would be.
Yeah. I feel like whether you're vocal about it or not, everybody wants more out of life. We're very open. Granted, like we have a platform where we're kind of encouraged to be open about it. Like we're very open about saying like, this is what I want. This is what I'm going after. I'm actively doing things to get myself here. But I think the disconnect is that everybody wants a new life, but nobody wants a new lifestyle. Nobody wants to change the things that they're doing in order to get there. They just want everything to magically happen. And that's not the way that life works, man.
Yeah. Dude, the next thing that I was going to bring up was growth requires grieving the old version of you. And so it says to grow, you have to let go of old routines, old friendships, old habits, old environments, old identity. And it goes right along with what you just fucking said there. Because in order to see the change, you have to be the change, and you have to make hard decisions to be like, you know what, I'm not going to surround myself with these people no more. You know what, I'm not going to continue to whatever X habit is or whatever X thing is, and you have to cut those out. And sometimes that's really hard to make those decisions, because guess what? Then it makes you feel even more lonely. It makes you feel like you're in a smaller box. It makes you go into your shell a little bit.
Yep.
But you got to do those things if you want to grow past what you are. You're a product of your environment. And so what are you letting infiltrate your environment? And then that's going to push the results out on the other end.
Yeah. I mentioned drinking in the beginning, and I think that the biggest part of this is that like some of the things that you need to let go of and you know you need to let go of aren't really like causing outward harm. Like, so I will admit my relationship with alcohol has not always been great. I've definitely went down a bad path, but even like as it's gotten better, probably not the best, not great, but it's not like harming my friendships or my relationship or anything like that. It's like these small things that like could be better, but I negotiate with myself to be like, it is what it is. But that's just me making excuses for them. And so I feel like that's what the world wants us to think, is like, if it's not harming anything, like what's bad in it? But that doesn't mean that it's not holding you back still. Like just because something isn't doing harm doesn't mean that it's benefiting you. And I use that example just because it's easy. It's top of mind. It's something that hasn't been going on for 2 months now. So like I can step back and actually see the difference. But like everyone knows what this is in their life. Everybody can pinpoint, this is where I struggle. This is what holds me back. And probably they negotiate or make excuses for it because it's easier. So like I have a reflection for people after this episode is basically like, what is a thing that you need to let go of that you keep negotiating? And I don't think it's a hard thing for most people to pinpoint.
No, but it's a hard thing for people to admit, and especially admit to like people around them. And so like my biggest thing too is like when you just made that statement is whatever that thing is or whatever that area is, like vocalize it and talk about it. And it doesn't have to be to the world. It doesn't have to be on a platform, but it can be to those people where, you know, like, all right, these people are different than all of these other ones. So I'm going to let them know like, hey, I fucked up here and this is what I'm working towards. But most people think that judgment, all this stuff's going to come in, but you have people in your life. And if you don't, there's outlets there's groups that you can become a part of. There's things that you can volunteer for to meet people. Like there's so many different avenues to get those people around because they're going to help put little golden nuggets, or they're going to help put more wood on the fire so that way it can burn brighter, because the person that you want to become is so much closer than what you think it is. And so when you start making intent behind it, or you start putting intent behind it, and you start having those conversations and you start actually speaking about it with conviction and purpose and drive and excitement, like, dude, I know I struggle here. I'm going to stop though. And you might slip up, but I'm going to keep going. You might slip up again and I'm going to keep going. And so it's just, it's owning it and being proud. Like, fuck, I might be here, but I got myself here and I'm going to get myself out of it. And I think that's one thing that we have to realize is like all of these things that are contributing to why we are where we are, or why we have the mindset we have, or why we feel the way we feel, they're all based off of our current habits. And so if you can slowly start switching those, it's going to start ticking in the other way. And now you'll see that direction change. And so if you got yourself into something, you can get yourself out of it as well.
I think that the most important thing maybe of the whole episode that you just said is like, when you slip up, you need to own it. You need to lean into it. I think most people, they mess up and they isolate, they feel shame. And so they go in their little bubble and they continue the bad habit until it gets to a point where they can't control it anymore. But now they've isolated so much, they don't have anybody left. And your sister actually just posted about this, where like she was slipping up and it got to a point where like she felt like she's by herself and pulled herself out of it. And now she's talking about it openly. And like, that's what you need to do, because other people are struggling, but they don't know that they're struggling until somebody else speaks up and says, yo, I was here too. I fucked up. I let it get to a point that I wasn't happy with, where I wasn't happy with myself, but you can get yourself out of it too. And I think like those are the most important things, is like, don't shy away from it. Don't isolate yourself. Like you just have to lean into it, being like, yo, I fucked up. We all fuck up, man. Like every single person, I don't care who you are, in some realm, you're gonna fuck up. And if you can own it, other people around you are gonna be able to own it too.
Yep. Yeah, no, I saw that post and it made me smile, because when, like, I'll relate it to me. When I was going through that hard time, I didn't tell anybody about it because I didn't want people to know about my pain and struggle. Because I did that, it made it 10 times worse.
Yep.
And then when I started talking about it, and when I started this, I started seeing the positive reinforcement. I started seeing people be like, hey, I'm going through this too. Or, hey, I went through this. Hey, what'd you do? And now we're training people to help them get out of that situation, to make them feel better, to live that happier, healthier lifestyle. And so when I saw her speak about what she's going through, and again, I don't mind talking about it on the podcast because she posted it. I would never come out and say this if she didn't, but it's like letting people know that you were struggling and that you got to that place, bro. It sets a light bulb off. And even if people aren't reaching out, it's resonating with people, and they're going to remind them when, say, somebody picks up that next drink, they're going to be like, damn, I saw her post and I probably drink a little bit more than I should. Or it's like, damn, I probably shouldn't do this as much. Because it even like it resonated with me on a whole different meaning and level. Yep. And it just makes me happy, because when people start talking about those things, it's like, all right, they're in it now. Like they want the change. They see the change. So they're not disguising it. They're not hiding from it. They're owning it. And it's like, I feel way fucking better already. Now imagine if stem from that Jess starts XYZ and whatever the next bucket is for her. Like that's the fuel to the fire. When you have that nucleus where you're like, fuck this person or this version or this path that I was down, then it's like, all right, this brand starts going out. This one starts going out, this one. And it just impacts and keeps steamrolling. And so talk about the stuff that you're going through, man. There's so many people out there that are going through it as well. And like, if you've overcome it, help impact somebody else's life.
Yeah. It's the first step. I mean, literally, like, just owning it is the first step. And who you want to be is not as far away as you think.
And we will end it there, folks. I think that that is a great topic. And I hope that you guys take away, because again, like when we're talking about these things, there's even stuff in my head where I'm like, I could do this better. I could do this less, or I could put more effort here. And so just take something away, whether it's not an area that we talked about in life today, take away something that impacts that area, because we're all subconsciously thinking about things. We all need to work on things. Nobody's fucking perfect. It's not going to be perfect. And the sooner you start on these things, the sooner you'll see the results that you want. No matter what situation you've been in life, you can get over it as long as you want it. And when you start taking that negative thing or that bad thing that's happening in life and use it as that motivation to push forward, to change the narrative, to change your family tree, whatever it is, you'll start seeing that growth, and subconsciously you'll start doing more and more and more and more. So thank you for tuning in to Desire to Inspire. Subscribe to the pod if you're not subscribed yet, but go out there, live your dream life, make the most of it, and know that you are in control of the life that you want to live. It's on.
Peace.